Welcome to the another episode of Abstract Thesis series. In this series, we are digging deep into the Power BI concepts. If you have not subscribed, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notification for our new video. Hello and welcome to another video of Abstract Thesis series. And in this video, we are going to discuss the newly released feature in May 2022 update of Power BI field parameters. Now let's jump out of the Power BI and see how we can use it and how it is different from the previous features which it is replacing. So field parameter is going to enable you to get dynamic measures or dynamic dimensions, or basically you can say it will allow you to have measure slicers, dimension slicers, or you can say access slicer. Okay, so now how to get that feature? To get that feature, you have to go to File, Options and Setting, Options. Once you click on the option, a pop-up will open. In the pop-up, you have preview features. In the preview feature, enable the last one, field parameters. Now this will remain here till the time it is in preview. Once it become main feature, this will be removed from here and you will not see it in preview. So right now it is in preview, so you see an option. Then let's press OK after changing it. Now Power BI may ask a restart after you do this change. So in case it is asking for that, please go ahead and do that. Now once you are done with that, you need to go to the modeling tab, and in the modeling tab you will see option new parameter. Now previously it was only new parameter, there was no arrow here. Now you will see the arrow here, numeric range and fields. Now you can use this fields parameter here and you can open it and you can give it a name. So I will give it as a name as access slicer. First I would like to use the dimension slicer, so I'm calling it as access slicer. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring state from the geography dimension, and rest of the thing I'm going to bring it from my item dimension, which is category, subcategory, and I would also like to have brand. Let me drag brand in between. Let's see if I can drag. Yeah, it is showing this yellow line. If you can see, I can drag it in between. Now you can see these are the things which I had. You can see they are all checked. Add a slicer to this page. If you check this option, and it will add the slicer to this particular page. If you don't want, you can uncheck it. You can also create a slicer on a using the table which it is going to create. So right now I don't need slicer on this page, so I'm going to uncheck it and I'm going to say create. So it's created a table which is named as access slicer, and you can see the access slicer code here. So it is saying state, name of geography state, and then it is giving a number. So in this manner a new table has been created, and this table is one which we are going to use in our access slicer. Now let's go to the new page and call it as access slicer. And we will call it FP because we are using fields parameter here. Now because we are using fields parameter here, so we will use this new access slicer table which has been created. I bring it here and I create a slicer using this. Now once I bring it, if I create a table, you can see, it's giving me all the values. It's just like you created that value table with all those such values. But let me make it as a slicer, and moment I make it as a slicer, you see it gives you all those value. Now what I want is I would like to make it as a horizontal slicer. So to do that, I go to the slicer properties and I go to slicer setting and I say orientation equal to horizontal. Now I would like to change certain colors. Now the color is part of values. Previously it was item. I'll make it as white color, and then in the background I'm going to do some coloring. So let me make it this color. Also I don't like to have slicer header, so I remove this. Now my slicers are all set. Now I need to create a visual. So let's start with a bar visual first. So I take a bar visual. Nothing is selected, please remember right now. And then let me drag the newly created access slicer on the x-axis. Now I will go ahead and drag a measure. So I have my measures under the base measures which I need net, and I drag it here, or I can drag it on y axis. I drag it here, and you see immediately that I got this. Now you can also see the expand icons here. So it means I can expand or I can go to the next level. So I can go to the next level like this. I can drill up, or I can expand. Okay, so these features are available when you have all of them available. But if you select the single one, the option of expand will go away. So state, brand, category, subcategory. So all these options you are getting. Now if you need that concatenate label kind of stuff here, let's say let me uncheck this, and then if I expand here, now if I expand here, it doesn't look so great. So I can go here and I say sort axis, state and brand. Now if I sort on state and brand, you see these values are coming. Now let me say sort again, state and brand. Now if I go here, I have option for concatenate label. I switch it on concatenate label, and I see this kind of structure. If I further drill it down, see I don't have that option. Again, make sure the sorting is here, and then concatenated label off, on and off. So now let me sort it again. Now this is one feature which does not work the way you intended in one go. Okay, so now concatenated label off, you can see it like this. When you come up, it's again in the same manner. So expand, and let's say if I select something and then I unselect and then I further expand, the feature might go away. Okay, I might have to do the exercise again. Okay, so now this is access slicer. Now the previous way was little bit tedious. The previous way was to have the bookmarks. So let me show you. I have access slicer which is already created using bookmarks. So now let me explain you how it is working. It is only having 3. So if I click control and click here, buttons, these are buttons. So I need to use control and click, and you can see these are changing. I have done some title coloring and the button coloring so that it looks like tab. So this is how it was happening. Now how it is happening actually is, if you let me showcase to you. To do that, I need to say view, I need to do selections, and I need to use bookmarks. So now what happens is, let me close all of them. I have 3 bookmarks here: bookmark 1, bookmark 2, bookmark 3, and each of these bookmarks, if I go to the buttons, if you see the action of each button, on each button I'm calling one bookmark. So I'm calling a category bookmark here, I'm calling a subcategory bookmark here on this button. These are 3 buttons, and in this button I'm calling the brand bookmark. So 3 buttons I'm calling. Now if I look at what is there in the brand bookmark, you see I have hidden visuals other than brand. Couple of visuals I have hidden, subcategory visual I have hidden, and category visual, and these visuals are one behind another one. So if I little bit move it down and uncheck something, then you will see the visual is there. Okay, so these visuals were one behind another one. That is why the visuals are not visible, and then we have hidden them in the bookmarks. So the way to do it in bookmarks is, whatever you want to make it visible, you just keep that open and other you hide. So we hide the subcategory and brand, and then we call it as the so we have hidden we have not hidden other than category. So this is category bookmark. In the subcategory bookmark, everything other than the subcategory is hidden, especially the 3 visuals. And in the brand, the brand, other than the brand, the 2 visuals are hidden. So these 3 visuals are hidden there. So this is way we do it previously. Now the disadvantage here is one is basically you always need to create these snapshot. You need to have 3 visuals, basically one behind another one. So a lot of adjustment is needed, you know, in terms of UI. Now you have more and more visuals because of that. Let's say if I need it for 4-5 visual in a page, then it was a really big challenge. So now I think fields parameter especially is really helpful in this case when I wanted to use access slicer. So now this is a really nice option for somebody who was waiting for this thing, access slicer. So now we are done with access slicer, and we have seen what was the previous option. There was one more option people used to do, is they used to unpivot the table. So let's say if I need this one, or maybe create a separate table. So what I would be doing is, I have this, let's say my item table, I will unpivot the table by having brand, category and subcategory on the rows, and I'll create that kind of a table with the values, and then I'll use that if I need a access slicer. That was another way. Okay, Now we will jump onto the measure slicer. Now measure slicer, again the part to do here remains same. So we create a new page, we call it measure slicer field parameter. Now measure slicer field parameter, I'm calling it, and what I'm going to do is, again I will go to the modeling tab. I will go to the new parameter fields, and this time instead of selecting the dimensions or the parameters, I'm going to select measures. So I'm going to select my four measures which I have, the base measures, and I'm going to select two measures which are number type, basically decimal number they are, and then I'm going to select discount and margin, which are basically the uh, measures which are of percentage type. Okay, so there are percentage kind of measure, there are measures which are of different uh, format. Okay, let's call it as measure slicer, and in this case I'll use this option add slicer to this page, and I'll say create. So slicer is added to the page, and again in the fields you will see a new table has been created, measure slicer, similar kind of a code using the name of the measure gross. So this is what is ensuring you that the table is created with the measures or with the parameters. But if you look at here, this tables looks pretty simple out here, but this is really powerful table, and we are going to use that now. Now again we are going to do a little bit of things around here. Let me copy this image on this one. Let me make it again horizontal slicer. That's what how we wanted it. So I go here, I click on this one, I go to slicer setting, orientation horizontal, colors we can set values, we'll make it white, and let's make it as a different color this time. Background we'll use a different color. Okay, so and this is selected, I can unselect that. Now let's quickly build up a visual. So we'll start with the table visual. We'll start with the table visual. In the table visual, I'll go ahead and add, let's say, brand. So item brand, and with the brand, let me go and drag from my measure slicer this one. Now you see when nothing is there, all four of them are selected. You can see also the percentage measures are appearing as percentage. I can check one of them and it remains one. Now same way I can duplicate this and create a, I can create a bar out of it. And it went to legend, but it is not a legend, it is actually y-axis. Now in the newer version we start calling it y-axis. So we change the measure according to measure, the axis is changing, and you can see both the places. It's in this case the measure is changing, not the axis is changing, and you can see in the both the places. And I can have multiple by selecting two of them. Okay, so I can have this kind of visuals, or I can compare margin and discount, two of them together. Now in this manner we can use, we can have more than one of it, and then try out, let's say, line on something else, and this one on something else. Now measure slicer also traditionally we were doing, so there were two options of doing measure slicer. We used to create a table, and then we used to do that by writing down a code. The disadvantage of that code was basically when we do such coding, the format of the number is something which was really difficult to maintain. So what we are going to do, we are going to show you the older method, and then you will be able to take a decision. Now the disadvantage of this one is because this is not converting measure into dimension, and it is both advantage and disadvantage, because calculation group, which is one or more method to do that, converts measure to a dimension, and then you can use measure as a dimension. There are two three things you can do because of that. We will discuss that. But there are few places where you compulsory need to have it as a dimension, so that was a little bit of challenge. Okay, so now let's do that measure slicer. For that, what we need to do is we can do a enter data, and in the enter data, let's create a table which is called measure selector. Now measure selector we do, and we call it also, let's say, measure selector, and we write down the measure names here, gross, and the name here doesn't matter, what you handle matters. Nat discount percentage and margin percentage. So gross, net, discount percentage, margin percentage. This is what I'm going to create a measure by using enter data into the home tab. We have that option and we have used that. Now we got this measure selector, and let's duplicate this page. So I'm going to duplicate the page, and here let me do, instead of this one, I go here and take this one from measure selector. Okay, and then what happened, remove the older one, we got the newer one, and this will, okay, we still have the newer one, we had the older one. What is happening? Measure selector, no impact now. So now we got it. Now we also need, now what happens is this measure selector is not going to do anything for us, no job it is going to do. So we need to create a measure now. Now here we can get multiple measures. Now there we will, because we are going to select one measure at a time, so we are going to get that. Now to get more than one measure is little bit difficult code, so we are going to opt for a very simple this one. So we were going to select only one measure at a time, and I'm going to write down a code which I'll call it measure select. Okay, and I'll say switch, and in the switch I'll say selected value. Now selected value, we will use this measure selector, measure selector, measure selector. Now I can give a default value as, let's say, gross, so that if nothing is being given, it gives us gross, and then alt enter, alt enter. Now what happens if you select gross, return the measure gross, copy paste this, close this, and let's quickly change the measures. So if it is net, then we will return net, and the spelling should match here now, otherwise it could create a problem. So we'll see, hopefully they are correct. Margin percentage, the measure on the right hand side will definitely come correct because the suggestions are coming. So now we get a measure select, and now this measure select measure is something which we are going to drag here and which we are going to drag here. And as you see, I have selected discount, but you can see the formatting. Now this is the same formatting which is coming in. If I make percentage, everything will become percentage because I have a single measure. Now right now also we are having single select, we are unable to select multiple, and this is a single measure, so only once I can set the properties. Or if I use formatting in this one, then they can become text measure, and then they will have a text measure challenges. So this was the one of the method which we had, and it has its own set of challenges which we were having. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to use the second method, and let me rename this page and duplicate the measure slicer again, and this time we are going to create measure slicer not using the traditional method. We are going to use one more method which we have, calculation groups. Now let's do calculation group. How do we do calculation group? Let me first delete few things out here, and then now there are few advantages which calculation group is going to offer. We will also learn about those. Now to get to calculation group, you need to install external tool tabular editor. There are two versions, tabular editor 2 and tabular editor 3. 2 is open source, 3 is having a free trial, and you can have the paid version you can take later. So let's have the tabular editor 2. I am using tabular editor 2, and in the tabular editor 2, if I go, I open it, this is how it's going to open. I can look at my tables, but the thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to say right click and here create a calculation group, and I'm going to rename it as select a measure. Now this is what I'm calling it. Now I right click on this newly created calculation group and I say create, and I say calculation item, and I rename it as gross. Once I rename, I go here and write down gross as a measure. Same way I'm going to create 3 more. Net. Let me first create them and then I'm going to add the measures. So I got this. Now in the net, I'm going to write down net. In the margin percentage, I'm going to write down the measure margin percentage. Now the one more thing which I'm going to do is, here it is expression and there is a formatting string, and I'm going to write down 00.00 percentage, and I come back and look here, this spell is wrong, let's correct this, margin percentage, and then let's have discount percentage. Again in the discount percentage we will need the formatting, and we will go ahead and do 00.00 percentage. So we got all these 4 calculation group, and let's save it. If they are valid, it is going to show all of them as correctly, and then we have to jump on Power BI. Now when we come back to the Power BI after saving our calculation group, we need to refresh this, and once we refresh, you will see a new table which is created here, select a measure. Now from a select a measure, there is a name which I have not renamed this. I drag it on the slicer. I got my slicer. Now to use it, I need to drop it into the visual. Now when I drop it into the, let's say, table visual, you will see it's error out, and I'll tell you the reason. The measure slicer, needs a measure to be there. If you use a calculation group, it expect you that you are going to give it as a measure. So you can see, because it has been converted into dimension, you can see this is coming on the row. Now I go here, and here I will do things a little bit differently. Here I am going to drag select a measure into legend. Okay, it's not showing anything. Again, it needs a measure. See, it contains 4 measures, but still it needs a measure. So on y-axis we give a measure, but it displays all the 4 measures. Now I can choose to have margin and net together, or I can choose margin and discount percentage together. Okay, discount margin percentage. Okay, discount control margin. Okay, 2 of them together, or I can click on gross and I say net together. So these things I can get. Now the difference here is that it requires one more axis or one more additional stuff to become a dimension. Okay, so you can see when even gross is coming as a name now, but this seems to you might seems like to you as a disadvantage when what we have seen in the measure slicer when we use the field parameter. But it has one advantage, and we are going to look at those couple of advantages here. So I go here and I'll show you the 2 advantages which we have when we use the measure slicer. So one of the advantage which we have, if when I go ahead and create a matrix visual, so let me create it as a matrix visual. So in a matrix visual, I can go and add, let's say, brand on the rows and category on the axis column, and then I can use net as a value. Now anyway, even if I want that, I need this. Now one more thing which I can do here is basically when I bring this slicer name, I can bring it in here. Now I can bring it below, so then it is very similar to what you have seen there, measures below. Now I can make it up, and my dimension can be up. Okay, so my dimensions are first up, and then I have the category inside my dimension. I can again use this as a slicer also and control whatever I want here. So let's say I want to show only net and gross. Okay, so in that manner, and then for a little bit of formatting, you can click here, and then you can go to the formatting. You can switch off the subtotals to look it much better. So now this is one thing. Now the second thing which you can also do, which is also possible with measure slicer, is let's say, let's copy this visual which is this one, and let's come to this page. Now in this visual, what we are going to do is, instead of legend, we are going to make it as small multiples. Now you see this is small multiples, and in the small multiples, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it 2 right now. So I'm going to go ahead and make a slicer out of it, and this slicer, let me only take gross and net. Okay, and now I go back here. Now this is one way you can display. Okay, and if we will do couple of adjustment here on this one, on the grid, and then you will see. So let's say I say one row, then you see net here and gross here. Now I don't need the axis. First of all, this y axis, I don't need this title. So remove this title because it is confusing. So remove this confusion, and now you see gross here and net here, both sharing the common y axis. Okay, so both of them sharing the common y axis. Now this is one combination. The second combination which I can do, I can go to the grid, I say row as 2 and I say column as 1. Now you can see gross and sales up and down. Now they are sharing the common x axis and different y axis. So these things are possible using calculation group in a small multiple. So these are the things which you can do using calculation group, which you will not be able to do in your field parameters. The last thing which we can do with the field parameter is, we got these two field parameters and let's make them work together. So let's take a matrix visual. In the matrix visual, and let me do one thing, I go to this axis slicer, I copy this, I bring it here and let it be in sync. I go to measure slicer, I copy this, I bring it here, let it be in sync. And now we go ahead and do something, which is, now we go here and we bring axis slicer on rows, and we can bring measure slicer on, let's say, values. Okay, and we can unselect them. All 4 of them are available. We can expand them, or we can do we can go ahead and expand like this, or you can select one of them and play around. So both of them, we can also have them together and take the advantage of the, both axis and measure slicer together. So try this out. This is a really good feature, and do let us know what else you want us to cover in this particular series. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you. Keep watching, keep asking questions in comments, subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notification for new videos. Thank you.